You guys may remember that when I first drove the MG4 X-Power, I remarked that that was the car that the Cupra Born should have always been. This, the MG4 X-Power, well, it made a mockery of the likes of the Cupra Born and the Abarth 500e. But it wasn't until I drove the Hyundai Ioniq 5N that I had the revelation that it's not all about straight line power. It needs to have the upgrades to back it up to be a truly impressive performance EV. So I'd like to start this video by apologising to Cupra. I'm sorry that I said that the Cupra Born should have had the performance of the MG4 X-Power because the MG hasn't got the upgrades to back it up. But what I will say is this. This is the Cupra Born VZ. Now this is the car that the Cupra Born should have always been. Positioned above the rest of the Born lineup, this car leverages VW Group's enhancements in EV powertrain technology, incorporating the electric motor from the larger Volkswagen ID.7 and other related tech. The VZ therefore features a new 79 kWh battery, an upgrade from the 77 kW unit which is in the V3 trim. It offers a noticeable performance enhancement, boosting power from 227 brake horsepower to 322 brake horsepower, and torque from 209 to 402 pound-feet. DC charging speed has also increased to 185 kilowatts. That means if you find a charger on the go fast enough, you can top up from 10 to 80% in as little as 30 minutes. And talking about charging, if you have a home charger like this, a 7 kilowatt charger, you can top up your VZ in around 11 hours. Now, I'm really pleased to say that for 2025, I've continued my partnership with Juice Up. Turn your own EV charger into an income generator with Juice Up, the app that lets you rent out your charger to other drivers via a friendly online community to make a little money back. But as a member, you can also access affordable, reliable EV charging in places where public chargers may be unavailable. It works both ways, and with promo code AUTOSOCIAL, you can enjoy 180 days free with no service charges. So download Juice Up for iPhone and Android and electrify your journeys. So in today's video, I'm going to outline all the key differences between the standard Cupra Born and also this spicy VZ version. I'll also be telling you some general upgrades to the Cupra range since it's had a little bit of a facelift and some added technology and equipment. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching, and if you do like new car reviews and car content, well, you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Firstly, you may be wondering, so if I opt for this high performance version of the Cupra Born, surely I'm sacrificing some of my electric range? Well, I actually have some good news. The VZ offers greater range. Whilst the battery capacity has only increased by 2 kilowatts from 77 kilowatts in the 231 brake horsepower model to 79 kilowatt hours in this one, Cupra claims that it features enhanced efficiency despite enhanced performance. They simply state that the battery pack has been improved. For example, the 77 kilowatt hour model has a maximum range of 348 miles, resulting in a 4.52 miles per kilowatt hour. In contrast, the VZ boasts a theoretical maximum range of 372 miles, and that translates to 4.71 miles per kilowatt hour when divided by its 79 kilowatt hour capacity. Obviously, I've been spending time with this car in unusual sub-zero conditions, every EV's worst nightmare, but even I've been seeing in excess of 4.5 kilowatt hours. Other than the very fitting MMA number plate, which I'm not sure was done coincidentally or actually done on purpose, there's not a huge amount that hints at this car's heavyweight potential. On the VZ version, you get two new colourways, and one of those colours is this green that I have on my test car, although my test car is currently about 90% salt off of the roads, so it's not doing it the most amount of justice. But when it is shined up, it looks lovely, especially when contrasting with those copper elements, which is so unique to Cupra, along the bottom of the splitter and of course on the badge on the bonnet as well. But it isn't any lower or any wider, there's no massive wing on the back. You will find a VZ badge on the back, and what does VZ stand for? Well, it stands for veloz in Spanish, which means fast, which makes a lot of sense. Now you do get unique 20-inch alloy wheels, and you can also upgrade these so that they're forged, lighter, and also come on performance tyres as well. But pretty much that's most of the upgrades on the outside. So what about the inside? Inside of here, you'll find these upgraded Saybelt sport seats, which are called the Cups. These are brilliant. They're lightweight, so they're much lighter than the standard seats in the Cupra Born, but they're also made from sustainable materials, which is important considering this is an EV. What I also really like about them is, though they're the lightweight sport seats, the bucketed sport seats, which are usually always manual, they are actually electrically adjusted on both the driver's and passenger's seat, or at least they are in my test car. So maybe that's an upgrade, but I'll pop somewhere on the screen whether that comes standard or upgraded. The one thing about these seats with all Saybelt bucket seats is they are pretty tight. They do hug you in nicely at the corners, and these bolsters on your legs are quite high as well. So if you've had one too many mince pies over the Christmas period like me, then you might struggle to get comfortable in these seats. But if you're a little bit smaller, nice and slim, you won't have any issues whatsoever. The interior inside of here is very classically Cupra, and for me that's brilliant. There's a mix of materials. You've got some nice touch levers just in front of the driver, but above the passenger is not quite so nice, and there's a little bit of plastic which is textured in front of the driver as well. You've also got this kind of almost in between velour and this kind of softer touch fabric in the centre, with those copper details around this centre console, and you've got little flashes of the copper as well, which I quite like. You've got a little slider and that reveals a couple of cup holders. In my opinion, it's not the best car at being dedicated to being an EV, because you still have this centre console. It doesn't feel particularly like it's taking advantage of all of those EV advantages. However, it's absolutely fine. There's storage inside the armrest, you've got wireless charging there, but the real highlight for this car is actually this latest generation also gets the upgraded infotainment system.
This is largely the system we already know from the Born, but it's had some well-needed usability improvements. Whilst it still lacks the physical controls that many prefer, it remains intuitive enough to use, although I'd still love a central scroller, especially for a car which is all about eyes on the road. However, the touch controls for the climate are now backlit, which is a great help when using them at night, and a nice clear head-up display is now standard on the V2 models and above. It includes handy navigational directions, so there's no need to look down at the screen.
Some of my other favourite touches are of course this steering wheel, flat bottom, leather around the outside, the copper details, it's very beautiful. They are haptic buttons, but I've personally gotten used to haptic buttons now. I don't find them too much of an issue. And then you've got carbon on the steering wheel, or at least a carbon effect. You've got that lovely Cupra badge as well. And these bucket seats are a highlight for me. I think they make the VZ version of the Cupra Born just feel super, super special. But it is quite important of what these seats are like for the rear seat passengers, because often when you have bulky sport seats like this, it does impede on the rear legroom. So let's check it out. Now it has to be said, I haven't sat in the back of an ID3 or a Cupra Born for quite a while, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how much space there is back here. These bucket seats don't impede in too much, but they are quite hard on the back, so perhaps if you do have a family, you may be better going for the standard Born with the standard seats. But I'm impressed that I've still got quite a lot of legroom. You've also got two USB-C charge points back here. You've got the pull-out armrest with cup holders, all the standard stuff you expect in a car of this size. ISOFIX fitments on the outer sides of the seats, a little bit of storage inside the doors. It's not exceptional in the back of this car, but it's fine. Your knees do sit up quite high, however. You seem to sit at a little bit of a slant. So if you do have very long legs, you might feel like your knees are coming up a bit too high to be comfortable. But I am talking about people who are over 6 foot. So the average person or children will have no problem at all. Right, I think it's about time we did the most important thing, and that's got this thing out on the road. The VZ version of the Born is equipped with a powerful rear-mounted motor that produces 40% more peak power, but more impressively, 75% more torque compared to the standard Born model, and that gives it impressive performance, although it is still rear-wheel drive, so it may struggle in a straight line against dual motor rivals. Still, the rear-mounted design will always be appealing in its own way for keen drivers, and especially in this model with its extended speed limiter that allows it to reach up to 124 miles per hour. But that's not all. It's not just about power. The chassis has also been enhanced with new coil springs and dampeners at both the front and the rear, along with updated anti-roll bar settings and a recalibrated regenerative braking system. The steering system has also been improved. Yeah, I know. They're taking this one seriously. And this version of the Born has really piqued my attention because it feels like some real driving enthusiast love has gone into building it. Both axles have slightly different wheel setups compared to the standard Born, and they also include a special software calibration for the adaptive dampeners as well. One of my favourite features of Cupra cars has always been the drive mode buttons on the steering wheel. They're so engaging and they just look lovely as well. On the left hand side you have a drive mode button, and this lets you switch between 5 different driving modes, and also there's a customizable one as well, so you can find your perfect driving combination between chassis and steering and throttle input as well. And then on the right hand side, of course, you have that lovely Cupra badge, and this is your Cupra mode. It activates the most aggressive of the settings, so it's ideal for quick overtakes or when you're navigating some back roads and you want to push it to its absolute limits. The Born has always been a decent drive, but the VZ truly enhances its character, making it feel like the car it was always meant to be. The steering is sharper, offering better handling, but of course you've got that rear-wheel drive layout which provides impressive traction actually, which is quite surprising. Even in wet or slightly icy conditions, I thought it was going to struggle, but it's actually quite effective at keeping the car stable whilst allowing for spirited driving, making the VZ enjoyable to push at higher speeds. And it's packed full of some nice equipment as well. The VZ comes standard with DCC, dynamic chassis control, so that allows for adjustable suspension, which is a nice improvement over the regular Born. Whilst the standard Born is a solid compact EV, the VZ stands out as the top choice in the Born lineup. Starting at 44,625, it's not exactly the cheapest option, but it's actually only £3,000 more than the lower powered 77 kilowatt hour model, which has less range. So this one just makes sense. The VZ also comes with a comprehensive list of standard features, which just make it seem the best value for money. And in comparison, the MG4 X-Power is cheaper at £36,500, but it just feels less refined and it offers a shorter range as well. The Born VZ truly embodies what the original Born should have been, with notable improvements on both performance but also handling as well, and these set it apart from both the standard model and also the ID3. In just a few corners, the VZ clearly distinguishes itself from the Volkswagen counterpart. The Cupra Born is a car which has performed impressively well, selling over 35,000 units across the world. And in fact, the UK is the 3rd biggest market for Cupra. So we love them, and I can see why. They offer an edge over the Volkswagen products, and I think they look great. The Cupra Born to me was always missing something, and I said that from the very beginning. It was a car that I liked, but it just didn't have the performance to back it up. However, now the VZ version has ticked all of the boxes that Cupra had previously left unticked for me. But let me know, what do you think of the Cupra Born VZ? Does this have enough power, or do you think it needed even more still? Let me know all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. I really hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget, if you did want to start earning money from your home charger, then you can download Juice Up and get started today. I'll pop the details in the description box down below. Until next time guys, see you later.